So I just want to give you a quick example, a personal example of how you can add in a small shift or a shift in a habit or a new habit that is easy enough to then create a new pattern that has greater impact and shifts your potential to becoming more the person that you want to be. So, for instance, my family is a bundle of chaos, and I am like the center of that storm. And we usually roll out of bed and are all fleeing like the scene of the crime to get into the car to make it to the bus stop because we've got to drive to their bus stop. And there's like hair brushing, teeth brushing, breakfast eating that's happening on the way from the house to the car. Jackets being dragged, which is fine. I'm not going to try and shift that habit right now. That is very thick and hard. But what I do want to shift is my experience of this situation. And instead of it being one that is stressful, being one that is enjoyable and humorous. And so what I often find is that I will be jumping in the car, kind of like growling at the kids, barking, stressful, breathing shallowly, heart rate up, blood pressure up, trying to make it to the bus, make it to work, feel some semblance of groundedness. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to use a simple trigger that I know will happen every single day, multiple times a day. And that trigger is going to be opening my door and sitting in the driver's seat. That's the trigger. And the trigger is often stress and, or the trigger often leads to stress, or I have to be somewhere, or I'm late. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit in that driver's seat and I'm going to check in with my breathing. And I'm going to make a conscious decision to take 2 slow breaths through my nose. And that's it. That is the habit that I'm going to try to automate. So what I would hope the downstream effect would be is that just by that simple check-in, which will not take more than 10, 12 seconds, I will shift my breathing. So I'll be shifting from the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic rest and relax system, which will shift my whole body into a different state of relaxation, which will shift my interaction with my kids, which will make me connect with them more, be more present for them, which will make me slow down and enjoy the scene and the ridiculousness of the situation, which will, over time, I'll probably drive slower and more carefully, get to the bus stop. If we miss the bus, I will be in a state of, that's okay, rather than a state of full panic. And I'll arrive at work. I will be in a generally more zen place. And then as I get in my car at the end of work, instead of rushing home to run to the grocery store or do whatever I need to do before I get home, or as I'm probably about to be late to pick up the kids from school, there's the trigger. I open the door and sit in the driver's seat, and I take my 2 breaths through my nose, slow and deep. And that, I don't have to do anything else. There's that habit. And maybe a downstream effect will occur where I am more relaxed, where I'm in parasympathetic, where maybe I'm going to nose breathe more. And then I see my kids and we're going to, slow motion run to each other and give each other huge hugs. And I'm going to know I am so lucky. Maybe not. Maybe after those 2 breaths I forget and I'm back to being my crazy, chaotic self. But it's worth the experiment. So that is how you do it. You find a trigger, something that you do regularly, and you insert a different response. And that will lead to a new outcome. So it's all an experiment. See what happens. Enjoy.